Every school leader knows this pattern. Implement a fix, it works beautifully, then 3 weeks later, it's fallen apart. Here's the one thing that stops the drift. Over the past few weeks, you've learned about process mapping and the single source of truth principle, the 5 C's that lighten cognitive load, and the importance of setting systems up for findability. If you've tried any of these, you probably noticed they work immediately. Put event details in one place instead of 5, parents stop asking where to find them. Write your weekly update with clear structure, people actually read it and information stops falling through the cracks. The improvements are real. The relief is immediate. And then about 3 weeks in, something shifts. Because here's what nobody tells you about implementing better systems. The hard part isn't the initial fix. It's keeping it fixed when the novelty wears off and everyone gets busy again. Hi, I'm G, short for Gitani. I help schools take complicated situations and make them simpler. And today, I'm showing you the one thing that makes improvements sustainable. There's this principle in systems thinking where organizations naturally drift back to whatever pattern required the least conscious effort. It's not that people want to go back to the messy way. It's that the old way is encoded in muscle memory and the new way requires intention. Here's what happens. Week 1, you implement single source. Everyone's excited, it works. Week 3, 2 people forget. You're busy, so you let it slide. Week 4, half the team is back to the old way. The calendar exists, but nobody trusts it anymore because information is scattered again. Week 6, you're back where you started. This isn't failure. This is what happens when you change behavior without assigning ownership. When nobody owns a system, everyone assumes someone else is handling it. People don't break systems intentionally, but nobody specifically maintains them either, unless there's a clear purpose, and sometimes a mandate. Every system needs an owner, not just users. Someone who monitors whether the system is being used correctly, redirects when people drift back to old patterns, and advocates for the system when others want to bypass it. Which is why I'm providing you with a simple checklist to address this issue. For each system you implement, answer 4 questions. First, what's the system? Be specific, not better communication. Instead, single source calendar on school website, all events posted here, all announcements link here. Second, who owns it? Name a person, not a department, not the admin team. Instead, communications coordinator maintains. Principals have added access. All staff, view only. Third, what does ownership mean? List 3 to 5 concrete responsibilities. For a single source calendar, reviews calendar weekly for accuracy. Redirects staff who post events elsewhere. Runs monthly check for upcoming events. Updates process documentation when workflow changes. Fourth, who backs up the owner? Systems can't depend on one person. For example, assistant principal steps in when communications coordinator is out. Let me show you what this looks like in practice. A school implemented single source for their official documentation. One central doc hub where all current forms, policies, and handbooks live. They assigned ownership. Owner, digital learning coordinator. Responsibilities, set up the system and standard templates. Train staff on correct usage. Support colleagues during implementation. Eventually migrate responsibility for long-term maintenance. Backup, digital learning support specialist. 20 months later, the Doc Hub still stands. Changes have been made to evolve with the needs of the school. New staff are trained to use it during onboarding. The system stuck because someone was explicitly maintaining it. Schools make 2 mistakes with ownership. Mistake 1, assuming ownership is obvious. Of course the communications director owns the calendar, but does she know that includes redirecting people who bypass it? Does she have authority to tell a principal, please don't create a separate athletics calendar? Make ownership explicit. Write it down. Tell the owner. Tell the team. Mistake 2, making ownership a burden instead of a defined scope. If ownership means fix every problem that emerges, nobody will want it. Instead, define specific, manageable responsibilities with clear boundaries. You own making sure the calendar is accurate and current. You don't own whether people like the calendar interface. That's an IT decision. Bounded ownership is sustainable ownership. Pick the one improvement that's working best right now. Maybe it's single source calendar. Maybe it's your redesigned weekly update. Maybe it's a form you fixed. Spend 10 minutes creating an ownership charter. Name the system in one sentence. Assign an owner, a person, not a role. Define 3 to 5 specific responsibilities and name a backup. Then do 2 things. Tell the owner explicitly. Don't assume they know. Have a 10-minute conversation. Tell the team. Announce who owns the system and how to use it properly. That's it. 1 improvement, 1 owner, 10 minutes of documentation, 1 conversation. When you assign clear ownership, 3 things change. The system stops being everyone's responsibility, which means nobody's responsibility, and becomes someone's responsibility. Drift gets caught early. When someone has explicit authority to redirect behavior, old habits don't creep back silently. Improvements can compound. When one system stays fixed because someone owns it, you can move on to fixing the next thing instead of constantly resolving the same issues. I've created an interactive ownership charter worksheet for you, which you can find at ekgcollective.com/toolkit. Fill it out, download a TXT file for your records, and share it with your team. I'll see you next time.